Welcome back to the Kings of Second Street podcast. We want to thank you guys for all your support on the last episode. I know that fantasy football might not be everybody's cup of tea, but hopefully some of you guys were able to draw some help from there, and other people kind of just found us through that podcast. But for the most part, we're going to be covering a bunch of different grounds, a bunch of different sports. So stay tuned in with us. We'll have a bunch of different content coming out. I don't know if you noticed compared to the last episode.
Look how professional.
Look at, we got a couple mic stands.
Wow, look, I don't have to hold it anymore.
Table. It's very nice. It's a very nice setup we've got going on
new
here.
Filters.
The new filters.
Hopefully that helps.
Hopefully audio is a little more quality.
Yeah.
But I know that people aren't too nitpicky about that, but we are pretty nitpicky about that. So we'll make sure that the quality is as nice as it can be for you guys. And the reasoning for all of this new equipment, I don't know if you wanted to give them the shout out.
Obviously, new setup. Love it. We look so much more professional now. The reason why we could get this setup is a huge shout out to the donors. We got people donating to the podcast. What a movement we've started. So big shout out to my uncle Donald for donating the mic stands, and big shout out to my sister Carissa and my wonderful girlfriend, the ever amazing Grace, for donating to the podcast. They're the unofficial official sponsors of today's podcast. And, every dollar that comes our way is going into this podcast, which has actually inspired us to do something unique. Well, at least unique for this podcast. We are crowdfunding, which means that we're going to have a link in the description that's going to take you to a PayPal account that you can donate to. And that's going to be our PayPal account. I don't know if it'll say Kings of Second Street. I think it just says Gabe's name. But feel free.
It does say Kings of Second Street.
It does say Kings of Second Street. Awesome. So yeah, just donate to there if you really want to be a part of this journey. If you want to just give, help support us, help see how far we can go. Every dollar counts. Doesn't matter how much you donate. But we really appreciate the support, and we know that some of you want to see how far we can get. And if you want to be a part of the kingdom a little bit further, please go down in the link and donate. No pressure to donate though, but if you do it means a lot to us. And every dollar that's donated is going back into the podcast. None of it is going to go out into either Gabe's or myself's pockets. It's going to go right back into the podcast. So we really appreciate all that you guys been showing us, all the love and all the support. It's crazy to see where we were the first episode and just like now and like our setup and the confidence we kind of feel. And it's only been 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So where are we going to be in 100 episodes, 200 episodes? Stick around, be a part of it, and donate to
our cause as we
to
evolve
see what it can evolve into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So we appreciate any and all investments into the program. And along with the donation, if you wanted to, we're going to put your names at the end of every podcast. So there should be a little added description to your donation. Just put whatever name that you would like us to put, or a message. Nothing controversial or harmful. But we want to be able to acknowledge our fans who might be putting in some investment into our program. So we very much appreciate it.
Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you never miss a podcast. We're going to be dropping a bunch of clips too. So instead of just having the podcast be the lone video that we put up on a week, we're going to chop up segments. Because I know a lot of you guys have a hard time sitting through an hour 20 long podcast, which makes sense because you don't always have the time to listen to something like that. So if you have a segment that you really want to listen to, we're going to chop that up and put that on standalone by itself. So if you're not a fan of the NFL, but we talk about baseball, you can just watch the baseball clip, right? And so stuff like that. But yeah, turn on notifications so you never miss one of those. Never miss a video. And please like and subscribe. It does go a long way into our journey. All right. First topic of the day. Actually a little bit of a somber one, but it's gonna be a feel-good story. Not quite there yet, but it's gonna be.
Yeah. But we'll figure it out.
But essentially, we live in the Bay Area. And for you guys that are not in the Bay Area, something happened recently into a Bay Area high school that really hasn't made national headlines, but I feel like it should have.
Yeah.
Mount Diablo High School in Concord, California, their high school football field was vandalized recently. And why is this so crazy besides the fact it got vandalized? Is it was a brand new football field. It cost $3.1 million to build the entire stadium infrastructure around it. And somebody, the Saturday before their first ever game on the field, lit fireworks in the middle of the field and left a giant burning, melting hole. And so they didn't get to play their game, their first game of the season this past Friday, August 29th. They didn't get to play that on their field, which is awful. I hate that.
Yeah.
You know, I went to Hayward High, and in my sophomore year of high school, we got a new football field. Greatest thing ever. Like as a football player on the team, you're like, this is the best day ever, because the field that they were playing on was so bad. And so getting that renovation is awesome, especially for like, you know, I feel for seniors potentially. They're like, dude, this is my last season, and I don't get to play on it right now. They're hoping that the timeline's 2 to 3 weeks to fix, but I'm not sure. It's a pretty big, ugly mess, and so I hope that they get it fixed. But yeah, so I don't know. Just trying to shed light on the news about it.
Yeah.
If you guys want to donate to Mount Diablo High School, we couldn't actually find a donation link to them specifically, but we are going to put a donation link in the description to Mount Diablo Unified School District. So if you guys want to help support them, not a cheap fix, especially because it never got used, and $3.1 million already.
That's the worst part about it, you know. For like the week before their first game, they don't even get the opportunity to play on it. So
yeah. So if you guys want to donate, there will be a link in the description to Mount Diablo Unified School District. Please go show them some love.
Not too common that school district's going to invest this much money into something like that. So yeah,
exactly. And it'll probably deter other school districts from doing something like
exactly
that if this is what's going to happen.
That's messed up for the kids, the future of those programs. So
well, the bright side is that Mount Diablo High School did get to play their first game. It was at Concord High instead, and they did beat Terra Linda High School 52-6. So they didn't let that stop them. They didn't let their football field disaster stop them. So shout out them boys. Go Red Devils. Hope you get your football field fixed soon.
I like that. Good touch. So we want to move on to some of your recommendations. We have a couple of people in the comments giving us some stuff to talk about. Like we said on our first podcast, we would love for some recommendations of stuff to talk about. And we are not fully, you know, we know a lot about sports, but we don't know every single inch of the landscape. So Brenda from Arkansas wants us to talk a little bit about the University of Arkansas Razorbacks football.
What's up, Brenda? It's great to see you. I appreciate you supporting the podcast. And let's talk about it. They just had their first football game. Gabe, how'd that go?
Week 1 against Alabama A&M. They won 52-7.
That was the score of the high school game almost.
Yeah, pretty much identical. 52-6. This is a considerable whooping. And you know, when we look at their quarterback, Taylon Green, he was 24 for 31 on passing attempts, so completed 24 of his 31 passing attempts for 322 yards and 6 touchdowns.
That's crazy.
Not only did he do that, but he rushed 9 times for 57 yards. That's 4.6 yards per attempt.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, he could do it through the air and on his feet. And that places him, I think, top 5 in the nation in passing touchdowns already.
Yeah.
With the 6.
Yeah. Hey, so, I mean, everyone knows it's a weaker school. You get those first ones out the way. Just build some hype for your team going into the season. I hope the Razorbacks do good this year. I don't know what their schedule looks like, but facing the SEC, they haven't historically been the best in the SEC. I mean, now naturally they're going to be better than most other teams outside of the SEC, just because they are a part of the Southern Eastern Conference. And so it's you know, they are a premier football school, but they haven't for the past few years been able to rival the upper echelon of the LSUs and the Alabamas and the Georgias. So they're trying to get back into relevancy with that. I hope they do. I know Brenda hopes they do. So we'll be rooting for them along the way, Brenda. We really appreciate you recommending us to talk about it. We'll keep up all season long with the Arkansas Razorbacks just to see how they do, and maybe just like the bigger updates that we see.
Yeah, for sure. But Taylor Green's somebody to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah,
Top
absolutely.
three in touchdowns.
Six touchdowns
already.
first game, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Taylor Green and the Arkansas Razorbacks, and shout out to Brenda. Thank you for watching the podcast and giving us a suggestion.
How old is Taylor Green? 22. So I think does that make him a senior? I think he's a senior. So senior year, used to play for Boise State. I don't know. Let's watch out. Let's keep an eye on him.
Watch out for him.
Anyway, our next recommendation, because we got so many recommendations from you guys, and we're so thankful because that's what we want to make this podcast about. We want to make this podcast a place where people can have their teams be heard. You know, not everybody hears their team all the time, especially the ones that are very, I don't know.
These ones are a little more obscure, I'd say.
Yeah, these ones are a little bit more obscure. But so, shout out Aiden from Boston. My boy Aiden from Boston. He's in the U.S. Navy. He's a CECN, which is a construction electrician's construction man. He requested that we talk about the New England Free Jacks and the Boston Renegades. So starting with the Free Jacks, this is a rugby team, actually. So if you guys don't know anything about rugby, maybe go check them out. These guys are insane. Gabe.
New England, carrying some of that New England heritage, patriotage.
So the New England Free Jacks, they are the champions of this past year of the rugby league that they are in Major League Rugby, MLR. And which maybe you didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that was a thing, but it is MLR, Major League Rugby.
This is our U.S. rugby.
These guys are the Boston, I almost said Boston. These guys are the New England Patriots of the rugby league.
Yeah.
Because they've three-peated the last 3 seasons. They won the championship this year, last year, and 2023. And nobody's talking about them. They need to be talking about them.
Yeah.
So shout out Aiden for letting us know about this. Because, yeah, dude, that's awesome. You have a three-peat for a team that was established in 2018.
That is
and they're three-peat.
Impressive.
That's awesome.
For somebody who's just learning about the Major League Rugby.
Yeah, and then you include like the fact there was like COVID. They established and then there was COVID like 2 years later. And then out of COVID, boom, three-peats.
Three-peat.
Love that. So shout out to New England Free Jacks. Take a look at them and go represent them. Go show them some love.
It looks like their season starts around March, April. So look out for them in the spring for Major League Rugby.
Okay.
And then next, the Boston Renegades. Also, shout out to Aiden. He's the one who's giving us these East Coast teams. Women's pro football. Women's Football Alliance, I think that's the name of the league.
And this is tackle football. This isn't soccer. This is tackle football.
This is tackle football. This is the American Women's Football League. They were the pro national champions in 2018, 2019, 2021, 2022, and 2023. So, like the Free Jacks, they three-peated from 2021 to 2023.
Wow.
But unfortunately, they have suspended operations for the 2025 season. I'm not sure.
Yeah, what's up with that? These guys are dominant. At least gals are dominant.
Gals.
They were founded in 2015, a part of the WFA, the Women's Football Association, and Football Alliance, excuse me. And they went on a run, a generational run. 10 years, they won 5 championships. In their entire existence, they won the championship 50% of the time.
That's remarkable.
And then this past I think it was this past February, they announced that the team has been suspended. That sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen. Go support the Boston Renegades. Go tell the WFA that we need the Boston Renegades back, because you don't just get rid of good teams like this.
No.
Imagine if the NFL was just like, you know what, we don't need the Chiefs anymore.
Just get rid of them.
Get rid of them. We don't
won
need
multiple championships.
I'm a Raider fan. I might support that idea, but I'm just kidding, because the rivalry is what makes it fun. But so yeah, it's that sucks, bro. They were so good, and then they just disbanded. So hopefully they bring them back. If we ever hear anything about them potentially coming back, we'll let you guys know, because that'd be really cool. But yeah, I didn't know the WFA existed. But you know what? I'm gonna check it out this year.
Yeah, shout out to Aiden. You know, we're getting put on to some leagues that
Yeah, Aiden, you've got a deep bag, bro.
this is a bag I can respect, really, truthfully. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about Major League Rugby and the Women's Football Alliance.
So
You
this
know, a
looks
lot of
like it
people
runs
could
from
go
April to
international,
July.
We're national with it. What's that?
April through July. That's when it runs. So you
April
might have to
through
wait a
July.
while. We might remind you guys when it comes up in April next year, but April through July.
That should be fun. Shout out to Aiden from Boston again.
And
Keep
thank you
doing
for
what
your
you're doing,
service,
man.
Aiden.
Thank you for your service.
Now, if you guys have any other recommendations for us, we will gladly check them out. If you have anything crazy going on, that would be awesome. Nobody's talked about. If you got a team that's went 162 and in their little league baseball, I don't know. We'll check it out because that's cool. So if you have any recommendations, please let us know. If your recommendation is too common, maybe we'll touch on it. I don't know. It depends. Don't be like, all right, please talk about the Lakers because the Lakers get talked about everywhere else. But if you got something niche about the Lakers, we'll talk about the Lakers. Like if you talk about I don't know, someone who's not LeBron James.
An international player that they might have brought in. You know, we talked about the big tariff.
Yeah, Hanson Young.
Hanson Young. Players like that, really cool. Like the Arkansas, that's a good one game little sample to cover. But yeah, stuff like that. Free Jacks, Renegades, obviously a little more obscure picks, but stuff like that we would be more than happy to cover.
Yeah, absolutely. Now moving on to I don't know, I would almost said somewhat obscure, but I feel like they're really growing. And I'm talking about Bay FC. This is a pretty fresh women's soccer team established in the Bay Area, but they're making waves, right? Not necessarily because of the on-field production. They haven't been the best, but they're still making waves. And what I mean by this is recently Bay FC played at Oracle Park where the San Francisco Giants play, and they broke the attendance record for the Women's National Soccer League, which they're in. The previous record was also the Bay FC, but in Chicago at Wrigley Field against the Chicago Stars in June of 2024. They had 35,000 fans. In Oracle Park, they had 40,000 fans. 5,000 more fans. They sold out the stadium. I don't know if you guys know this. Oracle Park, the Giants, they average 40,000 fans.
Yeah.
And so this women's national soccer league team is rivaling. That's not a word. I know English. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. Edit that out. This women's national soccer league team is competing with the Giants in terms of attendance, and they usually play at PayPal Park where the San Jose Earthquakes play, but I don't know what the exact attendance numbers are on that, but I'm pretty sure they sell out pretty frequently, and enough so that you could play at Oracle Park and sell that out too. I mean, what's next? Are these gals going to play at Levi's Stadium and sell that out? We're going to have 70,000 people in the stands for a women's soccer game. That's awesome. That's awesome. I don't know if you could get that type of growth anywhere outside of the Bay.
No, probably not. And
maybe the big cities, LA, Chicago, New York.
Yeah. And you consider, I mean, they're 12th in league standings right now. It's not like they're having a really hot season drawing in fans through performance, but kudos to other big Bay Area athletes. I know we had some players from multiple different teams show up.
Yeah.
And it's like that for most of the Bay Area sports now. Not trying to draw away from Bay FC, really appreciate, but even with the Valkyries, they have a lot of Warriors players show up. Niners players showed up last night. They're filling up Chase Center, to call it Valhalla now. So
yep.
It's nice seeing that movement, especially when it comes to women's sports. With the Valkyries and Bay FC, they're pulling in people to seats and kind of drawing some of the fandom from the Bay. Bay Area people love the Bay Area teams, so why not try and convert them into female sports fans?
Yeah, well, I mean, women's sports are great. I've always been upset when I see people talk negatively about women's sports. Now, there are some fair points about revenue they bring in and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, women's sports are fun. you and I've gotten the privilege of calling softball for SF State, and you've called women's soccer, and volleyball, basketball. You never had a bad time.
No.
It's so
fun
fun.
Games.
Right? And it's to compare between women's and men's sports is ridiculous because it doesn't need comparison.
Yeah.
Right? We don't need to compare if LeBron James is better than Kelsey Plum. Why can't they just both be great?
Yeah.
Right? Why can't
respect their skills and their respective
Why can't they
sports.
just both be great? But yeah, so it's been really cool to see that type of growth in women's sports, and especially here in the Bay Area. I think this is probably the best place for women's sports to be because it thrives. And every person you meet in the Bay, you can ask them, oh, what are your opinions on the Valkyries? What are your opinions on Bay FC or whatever? They'll know. They'll know something. They might not be like diehard into it, but they'll know something. Like, oh yeah, I'm rooting for the Valkyries. That's really cool. I've been keeping up a little bit, So that's awesome, and we hope to see them grow more. Hope to see it grow outside of the Bay too. I hope to see some more teams in different locations. I think that would do a lot for some places that really need it. Like maybe some places that have historically not the most respect for women.
Yeah.
I'd like to see maybe that change.
Mm-hmm.
I know Patrick Mahomes actually. He has
women's soccer team.
I think it's that women's soccer team in Kansas City.
Casey Sounders, something like that.
Yeah, we'll have to double check that later, but that's that kind of growth that we need in
Casey Current.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you.
Casey Current.
That's the kind of growth that I like to see. So yeah, shout out to Bay FC. Keep doing your thing. And hopefully we'll see you maybe at Levi's. Sell that out next. Hey, WSNL. WNSL. Yeah.
National Women's Soccer League.
Check it out. All right. Today, we have our all-time player of the day back. It's not a sleeper anymore because it's not a fantasy football specific episode. And this one is special. I'm going to give you a giant hint to who it might be. Our special all-time player of the day is Dave Stewart. Dave Stewart is an all-time great in the MLB. He's a Hall of Famer, and he played with the A's. And the reason why it's special is because this is actually my dad's favorite player of all time. So shout out Dave Stewart. Fun fact, my dad met Dave Stewart on a plane. There's a really funny story behind this. My dad would always sit in the back of the plane because scientifically, if the plane were to crash, the nose is the first thing to hit, and then the tail usually breaks off. So my dad sits on the back of the plane because he's like, if this was to crash, this is where the survivors sit. That's the highest chance of survival. So my dad's on this plane, sitting in the way, way back, and coming along down the aisle is his favorite player, Dave Stewart. And Dave Stewart sits in the row right in front of him, which is the second to last row. And my dad couldn't believe it. So he taps him on the shoulder and he says, excuse me, Mr. Dave Stewart, I love you as, you're like one of my favorite A's players of all time. You might be my favorite. You're my favorite player of all time. Right. And he's like, oh man, that's so awesome. It's nice to meet you. Blah, blah, blah. And my dad goes, I had a question though. Why are you sitting in the back of the plane? Shouldn't you be in like first class, drinking some nice champagne or something? And Dave Stewart goes, nah, man. I sit in the back of the plane because that's where the survivors sit if the plane crashes. And my dad couldn't believe that Dave Stewart had the same exact thought as him. And that's just so cool to like experience. Your favorite player is like thinks exactly like you in that situation. That's super
cool. Same thought process.
I'll throw that picture up of them meeting on that plane. And yeah, shout out Dave Stewart. Let's look at some of Dave Stewart's stats real quick. Why is Dave Stewart a Hall of Famer?
Well, I can tell you now, just listening off his awards. 1-time All-Star, 3 times World Series winner, 1-time World Series MVP, 2-time ALCS MVP, and 1-time Clemente Award winner.
There you go. Yeah, he's got a career 3.95 ERA, so that's his earned run average. So across 9 innings, how many runs he's expected to give up? 3.95, which anything below 4 is pretty good, right? Like that's pretty good. And he's got, let's see, he started 348 games. He has a 26.5 career WAR. Having a World Series MVP as a pitcher is also really impressive too.
Yeah.
I think he's doing announcing right now too for the Lord. This is for the A's in
For
Sacramento.
the A's.
Although I don't think he really wants the A's to be in Sacramento. Also, I should clarify, Dave Stewart is not a MLB Hall of Famer. He's an A's Hall of Famer.
A's Hall of Famer.
So
Okay.
it's a little bit different. I don't know if they'd ever put him in the Hall of Fame, but I don't know. I think he should. His number is retired with the A's. Like Gabe said, 3 World Series, 81, 89, and 93. Dave Stewart, I think one of the best things about Dave Stewart, besides the fact he's an amazing baseball player, is that Dave Stewart is an amazing man. I don't think I've ever heard a negative story about Dave Stewart. He's always makes time for people. I mean, the fact that he talked to my dad on the back of a plane, and he's sitting in the back of a plane. It's just, because that's where the survivors sit. That's such like a common guy thing, This guy's not like some arrogant elitist person. He's just he's just another dude, but happens to be one of the best pitchers
He's
of all
just one
time.
of the guys, and also happened to throw 275 innings in 1988.
He's also a true Oakland A's. He's from Oakland. He was born in Oakland. So
he pitched like 750 innings from 1988 to 1990.
wow.
I don't even know if you could find a pitching staff that throws 750 innings. So nowadays, so
yeah, no, that's
it's
crazy.
impressive.
He's a GOAT for a reason. So shout out Dave Stewart. I'm wearing his shirt, obviously. I think the shirt's fire. Maybe I'll throw a picture of it up. Maybe not. Who knows? But yeah, Dave Stewart, all-time player of the day. Go check him out online yourself. See what he's all about.
Yeah, shout out Dave Stewart.
Speaking of MLB, this is a very exciting topic. You might have clicked on this clip. This might be like the segment that you just clicked on.
This one specific segment.
Because this is exciting.
This is big news.
We all love to relish in the ideas of what does the future hold. Well, we kind of know what the future holds for the MLB. Because Rob Manfred, the commissioner of the MLB, actually just said that. He said that the MLB is going to expand. Now, they've been talking about the MLB expanding for a while. But this is, pretty big news that he said the MLB is going to expand. Because he's not going to be the commissioner after 2030. He's said that he's going to retire, step away after 2030. So if he's saying the MLB is going to expand and he's only got a timeline of 5 years before he retires, the MLB is going to expand probably in the next 5 years. Now the question is, what does it look like? Because going to 32 teams, you're going to have to realign some things. Right now, there's 6 divisions with 5 teams each. You can't just add a team to one of those divisions. You have to completely redraw it, realign it, and everyone has an opinion on what it should be. So we're going to share ours too, because everyone has an opinion, and everyone wants to hear each other's opinions. This is what you do. Now, the questions that are the biggest questions in the MLB expansion, where are the locations going to be? You have to have 2, but there's a lot of good options. Some of the names of places that have been thrown out are Salt Lake City, Portland, Charlotte, Nashville, and then those are the top 4 I think most people are leaning with. And then there's even been some quieter, like Orlando's, Oakland, get a team back there.
New Orleans,
maybe San Jose, Sacramento. But the ones that seem to be the strongest are Charlotte, Nashville, Salt Lake City, and Portland. Now, leave a comment where you guys think they should expand. And maybe it's one of those places we didn't list. But leave a comment where you think they should expand and give some reasoning. Why? Why should they go there? Why should they go to that location? I'm going to give you guys some quick facts as to some of these places and what you guys can pick through the facts. I'm not going to tell you exactly my opinion on it, but there are some comparable stats for sports, which is really good. That's hard to get. So for Nashville or Charlotte, because that would be the East Coast team that's added, you can look at the stats. The average home attendance for the Tennessee Titans in the NFL was 64,819 in 2024. The Carolina Panthers, who play in Charlotte, North Carolina, averaged 70,612 in 2024. So that's about 6,000 more fans a game in Charlotte than Nashville. Although Nashville's been the name that's been thrown out more for the MLB expansion. But you can also compare their NHL teams. They have that. The Carolina Hurricanes had an average regular season home attendance of 18,795 for the 2024-2025 season. However, that's over 100% capacity. So they only have about 19,000 seats, but they're selling out over that. So how are the Predators doing? Well, gosh darn it, they're doing about the same. The Nashville Predators had an average home attendance of approximately 17,216 fans. So about 1,500 fans less. However, that's 100.6% of the arena's capacity. So it's hard to tell like who's more attractive to the MLB. Both places are selling out.
Yeah.
Nashville is getting more seats or people in the seats per capita. The Nashville population is 704,000. Charlotte's population is 943,000. So there's 239,000 more people in Charlotte than Nashville. But Nashville's like right on pace with that,
With the pace.
with the sellout. What do you think? Do you think like Nashville or Charlotte makes more sense for them?
I think Nashville makes more sense. It's a growing market. I think Nashville's always been a solid market for teams. I'm not saying anything about Carolina, but if they had to, like, say that there was only one team that they could add right now, and they had to choose between these two cities, I think they would lean towards Nashville because of the growing market. I think there's a lot more allure to the Titans right now, because of the number one pick that they just got, and of course Ted McMillan over there with the Panthers. But I think there's a lot of, I guess, allure around this Titans team. They haven't really had a solidified quarterback in a little while, and yeah, the fans are pretty solid over there. I think they'd go crazy over whatever team that you can bring to them, as long as it's not like a team that's getting moved. It's an expansion team that's their own, that
Yeah.
they can call their own.
That's a big part of it.
That's a really big part of it. So regardless, any city's gonna love that. But I think they're leaning towards Nashville because of the growing market, and I feel like there's probably a little better locations for a stadium there, if I had to imagine from what they're looking at.
It's true, lower population, probably more land space. I don't know. I mean, if I had to give my opinion, I think Charlotte is a pretty solid, you know what you're getting, right? You know you're going to get fans in this stadium, but I don't think there's been as much talk about Charlotte as there has been with Nashville. So I think with that allure, you might get more of a big boom right away in Nashville. Plus, it's more touristy, so you might get some more out of town fans. I don't know how much the MLB actually cares about that, but given the history with the A's moving to Vegas, I would say probably a decent amount, because they know that the fans in Vegas aren't going to actually go to the A's games, just be tourists. Because tourists spend more money. I don't know if you guys ever thought about that, but tourism, people on vacation spend more money than your average Joe Schmo who lives there. Right? When I go to a Giants game, I make a PB&J sandwich. I bring a water. The dude from Detroit, Michigan, bought 5 slices of pizza and 10 beers for $400.
Yeah.
Right? And he's there to see his team in a new place he's never been. So tourism really does matter for attendance. People don't think about that often, but they do. So I think because Nashville's a little bit more of a tourist population, I think they would like to go Nashville. But I think Charlotte or Nashville do deserve a team. I think either of them could do really good. There are some other locations, like you mentioned, like New Orleans. I just don't know how.
Montreal.
Yeah.
But you just don't know how things would go.
I just don't know
those markets are
how
not
diehard those fans would be there.
exactly.
You know? It's always hard to tell.
I mean, hey, Expos were around for like 50 years, so.
Yeah, there's not that many people in Montreal.
But yeah, not exactly.
Anyway, and so that's the
Centerpiece.
East Coast teams. The West Coast teams that might be added. The names that have been thrown around the most are Portland or Utah. Now, a couple quick facts, like I did with Nashville and Charlotte. Portland has a population of 635,000. Salt Lake City in Utah, which is the most populated city, has 217,000. That is a 400,000 people difference.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that Portland's the better market. Because the Portland Trailblazers, they draw an average of 18,326 fans per game in the 2023-2024 season. The average attendance for the Utah Jazz was 18,175. So per capita, the Utah Jazz draw more fans. Now I don't know what the arenas hold. I didn't get to look that up, but the Portland Trailblazers and the Utah Jazz are drawing about the same amount of fans per game. Now, what I would make the deciding factor if I was the MLB is I would take a look at what the Utah Mammoth, the new expansion team, well, they're not expansion, but the Arizona Coyotes, they moved to Utah. They were the Utah Hockey Club for one season, and then they became the Utah Mammoth. This new upcoming season is their first season. It's the Utah Mammoth. That's going to be exciting to see. The Portland WNBA team is the Portland Fire. They just got announced. We talked about that a little bit on the first episode. What I would do if I was the MLB is I would see what is more desirable to a fan. Does the Utah Mammoth like outpace the Portland Fire? Now, naturally, I know that the NHL is a bigger, more popular sport than the WNBA, so that comparison's a little bit harder. But if the Portland Fire come out swinging like the Golden State Valkyries, maybe MLB takes that into consideration. And say, well, the Mammoth, they got good attendance, but the Fire got really good attendance, so we could really market that. You know, the Trailblazers get good fans. I don't know. I don't know what they would really want to talk about, or like I don't know what happens behind closed doors. I'm not in the room where it happens, but I think personally, I believe that the MLB is going to go to Salt Lake City. Do you agree?
It's hard to say. I mean, the thing with like the Valkyries is like fans were showing up since game one, so like, regardless of how they were, I think it really heavily depends on how well the Portland Fire play, but I think the ability to consistently draw in fans, especially when you're an expansion team that isn't doing well, that could tell a lot about how a city would respond to a new team that maybe doesn't have all these success right away. That maybe like, you know, is a project that's going to work on for a couple of years, but it's a project that you can get behind, a project that you can support. I think it's something like that. How is like merch sales? You know, how are people really getting behind this team? You know, is the Portland Fire something that Portland's citizens are, you know, repping? Is this something that they're very proud of? Then I'm sure that the MLB is definitely going to take it in consideration. But yeah, I mean, when we're talking about like per capita, Utah's getting butts and seats, and that's what matters. That's how you get merch sales and stuff. So I could see Utah being the move. It's a nice market, nice baseball market. I feel like a little gritty.
One thing I will add for the conversation between Portland and Salt Lake City, the reason why I think they'll go Salt Lake City is location. It's going to be way easier to build a stadium in Salt Lake City. You can have a way bigger stadium because there's just so much more available land than Portland. Portland is a very, very jam-packed city. So there's not really space to build a stadium. There is a lot of space in Salt Lake City. College sports are really, really popular in Salt Lake City. I mean, and in Utah in general. You look at the Utah Utes are really popular. The BYU Cougars are insanely popular. Right, even Utah State gets a noticeable amount of fans. Very little brother. Their middle child, actually, if you think about it. No disrespect to all my middle children. You get it. But yeah, so I think Salt Lake City makes the most sense. And the reason why I will double down on that is because Salt Lake City, you would have a large region outside of Salt Lake that would be supporting this team. That's a thing I don't know if people are taking into consideration. Because you got people from Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Iowa, I don't know, wherever. But people that, maybe not Iowa, Iowa's a little too far over. But you have people from all over the Midwest that would claim Salt Lake City as their team. Because I don't know if you guys have looked at a map, but the only team in this very large radius is the Colorado Rockies. And no offense to the Rockies, but all offense to the Rockies, you guys are so bad. And you have been consistently bad for such a long time. And so people from Wyoming don't want to be a fan of you because you suck. And so I think Salt Lake City makes the most sense because then you also capitalize on all those states around you.
Yeah, this makes sense.
I think you get the Dakotas in there, right? You get the Wyomings.
I respect that.
I think that makes the most sense, especially because Portland, it's not, you know, I love Portland. I'm a Trailblazers fan. But Portland, you have to fight between all the California teams, which as it sits right now, there's 5, and Seattle. You have the Mariners. And most people in Portland right now, I think, are Mariners fans. They follow baseball.
Okay.
So that's tough because you're competing with 6 teams in that area that have kind of fought over that. Salt Lake City, I don't know if they're a fan of anybody. Honestly, they're probably just like, baseball. I'll just watch the Cougars.
Like you said, I mean, if the Rockies, if they had a better team around there, then I'd be like, maybe, maybe not. But a team that they actually got behind, but I don't see anybody from outside of Colorado really rooting too hard for the Rockies unless they're
Yeah,
really
they're
feeling
not
like
like the Broncos, right? The Broncos are so popular. And I'm sure I can't speak on this for sure, but if you're from Salt Lake City, you're a big Broncos fan, and there's a lot of you guys out there, I don't know, let me know. Put it in the comments. But yeah, I'm sure that the Broncos are really popular in Salt Lake City because it's not that far. Like if you had to go fly or drive somewhere, you're like, oh, it's the closest. Oh, Broncos, they're good. Oh, I'll watch them, right? I don't know if that's what comes on in the market on Sundays. I don't know if that's the games that's shown, but I assume so because it's the Midwest, and that's what you do. So I would say Salt Lake City makes the most sense for that. This is all just food for thought, though. This isn't any like public declaration of what we really think should happen, just kind of like what we think will happen. I also will recommend check out John Boy Media's video they did on this. I think Jimmy did an amazing job on that. And then, of course, Talking Baseball, the podcast of part of John Boy Media. They both had versions of an expansion that I think they got some good points. I like some aspects. I disagreed with some other things. I really disagreed with teams in the divisions. They like the way they drew it. I didn't really like that.
Yeah.
So I actually have the way that I would do it, but the way that I would do it, I came up with 2 versions. One, if there was an 4-team divisions, like 8 4-team divisions, and one if there was 4 8-team divisions, which is naturally one of the 2 ways it's going to happen. Unless you do like what the NBA does with East and West, which is also possible. That would be really fun if you just had an Eastern Conference, Western Conference, Eastern League, Western League. Mm-hmm. That'd be really cool. Draw a line down like basically the Mississippi, and then whoever's on the west side, that's your West, just like the NBA. That'd be really fun because then you get to play your division a lot more frequently. But the way I would do it is I would do 4 8-team divisions, and I would just have them be super regional. I think most people want regional divisions anyways. Because some of the ways it's drawn out right now is kind of silly.
Yeah.
But what I would do, and I don't have my phone on me, so I can't actually remember exactly what I have, but I'm going to put a map up of what I have it drawn out. But I know that the West Coast, you would have Salt Lake City, you would have Las Vegas A's if they actually end up playing there, which that's a whole nother conversation. Go back to episode 1 if you want to hear me talk about that. You have the Angels, the Dodgers, the Giants, the Diamondbacks, the Mariners, the Padres, and that's your 8 right there.
Did you get D-backs?
Yeah. Okay. So that's your 8. And just make that the West. Just make that the Western Division. That would be so cool. You're telling me that Angels fans don't want to play the Dodgers in a division game? No. Yes, absolutely. They want to. That's ridiculous. So I would love to see that. I would love to see just like a regional thing. You have the A's and the Giants in the same division. You have the Mariners and the Padres in the same division. Coast, like top of coast, bottom of coast. That's cool, right? And then for my kind of Midwestern conference, can't remember everything right now because it's on my phone, but I believe it was the White Sox, Cubs, Twins, Tigers, Guardians. No, I think I put the Guardians in Cincinnati in the Eastern.
Okay.
The Rockies, Twins, Tigers, Cubs, White Sox, Rockies.
Texas teams?
No, this was more like Northwestern teams.
Okay, this is Northwestern. Okay. You had 4.
Milwaukee Brewers. Maybe it was the Guardians and the Reds. I don't know. It's up on the map. I can't see it right now, but that's fine. And then the East was the Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Mets, the Orioles, either the Reds or the Guardians. I can't remember if
Marlins?
I put the Marlins are in the South.
Marlins are in the South, okay.
And then I put Red Sox, Yankees, Mets, Blue Jays, Orioles, Nationals.
Yeah, they're DC.
Phillies, Pirates. That's my East. So the Guardians and the Reds are in the upper Northwestern Division.
Okay.
They're in the Northwestern Division. And then the South,
Texas teams.
You have the
Rangers.
Texas teams. You have the Royals and the Cardinals. Because if you look at a map, they're pretty southern. If you think about it, I know that you would consider Missouri the Midwest, but that's location wise, they're not that far from Texas.
Yeah.
Right? They're not that far from Colorado. So
this is more so in terms of
not
like
put Colorado up in the
travel.
North. So in terms of travel, it's pretty low, right? So I would put like Texas Rangers, Houston Astros, Kansas City Royals, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Marlins, the Rays, and then the Nashville team. That makes the final spot. Oh, and the Braves. That's the last team. Nashville and the Braves. That is what I believe is the perfect division to have. Or the perfect division. Because it's all regional. Like it makes so much more sense.
The
travel's so much easier. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but teams like San Diego and Seattle, their travel is crazy. Seattle in every major sport tends to lead the league in travel.
Yeah.
Because all the teams are so far away from them. So having them regionally saves these players' mental healths. It saves their physical health because they get better sleep. They don't have to be on 9-hour flights anymore. And so Seattle going down just to Cali a lot, Arizona, that's not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with that comes better baseball. I think the Mariners become better.
Yeah.
You tell me Cal Raleigh on better sleep doesn't become even better than he already is? Could you imagine?
Spend less time traveling, more time working on the specifics of the game. I definitely could get behind something like that because, I mean, you think about it's a 162 game season, the amount of miles you get on, just traveling, how much wear and tear that does to your body, your mental, your sleep schedule.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into a 162 game season and the amount of traveling you have to do. Like the Mariners going all the way to Texas to play the Astros is not exactly too convenient for them.
Yeah, exactly. That's not close, right? And then you have to go to the Rangers, right? So it's really not that close.
Jeez, AL West is so messed up right now.
That's how it always is. The Western, I don't understand. It's in all sports like that. Like even in the NFL, the AFC West, right? The NFC West isn't as bad.
Not as bad
because the Rams are now in LA, so it's not that bad. So you have the Rams and the Niners and the Seahawks and the Cardinals. That's all there. Mm-hmm. But then you look at the Raiders division and the Chargers and the Raiders are like here and here, and it's like that's not that bad. And then you go to the Broncos who are all the way over here, and then you go to Kansas City who's all the way over here, and that's just too far. That's the South at that point. Right, and I'm sorry, people from Missouri. I know that Kansas City is not the South; it's the Midwest. Geographically, it's the South. So, just saying. Now, I do like John Boy Media Jimmy. I like Jimmy's structure of his season. At first, I was a little taken aback because it's such a drastic change. But go check out that video because it's really unique concept. I don't know if the MLB would actually want to implement something like this, but he changes the season. It becomes a 156 game season so that it can average out with the teams. It makes more sense for 32 teams to have 156 games. And there is crazy new things because people during the middle of baseball, they get a little bored. So in order to make the races a little bit better and also to make the latter half, because some teams like the Giants, for example, they stink in the second half. Although they're on a nice winning streak right now. 8 of the last 10.
8 of the last 10.
That's
very
awesome.
Good offense, for sure.
And these aren't against scrubs. Against the, Orioles have pretty good hitters. And then the Cubs, of course, are great.
Cubs and Brewers, two of the best
Brewers,
teams
so
in the National League.
That's awesome. Sure. So, but teams, they might stink in the second half, but they were really good in the first half or vice versa. I think the A's had a not that great first half, but they're doing pretty good on the second half. And so the way that Jimmy drew it up was there was going to be a midway point in the year, and whoever's the top seed in their division at the midway point clinches playoffs.
Oh, wow.
You don't clinch the 1 or the 2, you just clinch playoffs.
Okay.
And then and then whoever's the top seed in their division at the second half of the year also clinches playoffs.
Okay.
And then it's just best 2 records.
All right.
Right? So if you have the Giants winning the division in the first half, the Dodgers winning the division in the second half, and all the games count still, it's not like you start from 0 in the second half, then you would have the Giants and the Dodgers clinch, and then it'd be whoever's in that division, like the A's and the Salt Lake City or whatever, they get to make it with the best records.
And this is per division.
Yeah. Okay. And so it's per division. I think that would be super fun. I know that a lot of old heads would probably disagree and be like, "Oh, you're ruining the game of baseball." Buddy, baseball is an amazing sport that we love very much, but it's not appealing to people that haven't grown up with it.
Yeah, there's a reason why they added the pitch clock and are doing things kind of change the game, change the pace.
Exactly, because you and I can sit through 3 hours of baseball, but Joe Schmo, who goes to one game a year because his parents drag him to, he's like, fair, but make it more exciting.
Yeah.
So I actually do like Jimmy's way that he did it. So go out on his video, check that out to get the whole breakdown. It'll make more sense the way he explains it. He's much more of a genius than I am. I have so much respect for him. But the question becomes, what are the names for the potential places where these people go? Leave a comment. I'm not going to go through my list, but you guys can leave a comment on what you think the name should be. And maybe I'll put in the comments myself what I think our team names, the team name should be, like whether or not they go to Charlotte or Nashville or Portland or Salt Lake City or even other ones. I made up some other ones. We'll see what the team names would be. But off the top of your head right now, Salt Lake City gets a team. What's their team name?
The Leopards.
Why? Just to balance out the Cougars?
Yeah.
Okay.
Snow Leopards.
I don't remember all of them that I wrote down, but I definitely remember the Pumas.
Pumas?
Pumas. I think the Salt Lake City Pumas.
Why don't we resort to cats?
Well, I liked it because they have the BYU Cougars. And Puma is just another name for Cougar. So the Salt Lake City Pumas. It's why the Bears are called the Bears and the Cubs are called the Cubs.
What about a hummingbird?
Because the Bears are the Bears because the Cubs exist.
The Cubs to the Bears.
Yeah. That's why. So that's why I think the Pumas would be cool because it's like BYU Cougars.
Okay.
I don't know. It'd be fun. If they go to Nashville, what do you think? Nashville has a AAA team. The Sounds. The Nashville Sounds. That's cool.
I mean, Nashville Music Notes.
That's horrible. Wow, what a bad name for a team. The Nashville Music Notes.
The Nashville Rock and Roll. I don't know. I mean, I didn't prepare some names for these.
You could have just done the Nashville Rollers.
Nashville Rollers.
The Trevor Plouffe mentioned this on the Talking Baseball podcast that there is a minor league team in Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, called the Knoxville Smokies because of the Smoky Mountains. And he said, just use that. There's the Nashville Smokies. And I'm like, honestly, that's fire. I don't know if they could get that agreement from the minor league team, but I think that's a cool name.
Minor league team names are cool.
Minor league team names are so cool.
So cool. The Bison.
The Baby Cakes.
I like the Bison.
The Biscuits. The Montgomery Biscuits.
Montgomery Biscuits?
Yeah, Montgomery Biscuits. New Orleans Baby Cakes. There's the Rocket City Trash Pandas.
The Trash Pandas go.
The Modesto Nuts. But I heard that they're changing their name. They're moving.
Where are they moving?
I don't know. But I heard Modesto Nuts.
The Nuts.
That sucks. Yeah, leave a comment what you think these team names will be. My team names will be in the comments. Let's see. Sleeper. I wanted to mention this. One place that I don't think the MLB will ever go to, but they absolutely should because I think it's an amazing market full of diehard baseball fans. Plus, I would absolutely become a fan of them. I don't care that I'm not close to them. Puerto Rico. MLB go to Puerto Rico. Okay. That would be fired.
What league? What division? East?
South.
Yeah, with the Marlins and
Screw Nashville. Sorry, Nashville. Go to Puerto Rico.
Hey, they could get behind some baseball down there.
Bro, and then they'd be in the same division as Tampa Bay and Miami. Come on. Miami, Puerto Rico rivalry would be so awesome.
That would go hard.
Be so cool because Miami doesn't really have a rivalry. They're in a division with the Nationals, the Braves, the Mets, the Phillies. Come on now. Nobody cares. They don't even care about Tampa Bay. Puerto Rico, they'll care. You get some fans in the seats for that.
An expansion team.
I mean, dude, when Puerto Rico plays in the World Baseball Classic in Miami, because they often play there, because that's closest to the Dominican and Cuba and Puerto Rico. That place sells out. Miami Marlins can't even sell out like that.
You see the red and blue, and
I see it here. This is far. The Bay Area is not close to Puerto Rico. I see a lot of Puerto Rico jerseys.
Yeah,
a lot of Nicaragua jerseys.
For sure. A lot of Puerto Rican players in the league now. So,
but if you look at the market size, Puerto Rico actually is one of the biggest markets in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah, they're like much higher than Vegas, much higher than Salt Lake City. I think they're like 12. Like if you put them into the U.S., they're really high. So the MLB, unless you're too chicken, which you probably are, go to Puerto Rico. That'd be so fire. The only downside is I don't think that if you have Puerto Rico, they should ever be allowed to play like Seattle, because that sounds like the worst plane trip of all time.
They have like a neutral ground.
Yeah, but you can't do that either. So yeah, that's tough. Anyway, moving on, we're going to be talking about the NFL. Moving away from the MLB, moving to the NFL. It's the first week of the season coming up. Starts this Thursday, September 4th.
Yeah.
Awesome. I don't remember what game it is. Cowboys, Eagles.
Cowboys, Eagles.
What a way to start the season. What a way to start the season.
Wow.
What a way to start the season.
Oh, is it? Oh, no, not all division matchups.
A lot of
the
them.
Niners are playing the Seahawks, so getting a couple divisional matchups to start off the season. But we are moving into the NFL season award predictions. So Gunnar and I are both going to be going back and forth from MVP to Protector of the Year. We're going to go over all of them.
Yeah.
So should I start? Should I start with the MVP? My predicted MVP?
No. Start with
we're gonna go
Start with
comeback
player of the year. Work your way up, and then we'll go to the champs.
I should have brought up all these numbers, but my comeback player of the year is going to be Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, a guy who missed a good portion of last season. Gunner's gonna call me a homer.
Nah, that's a good pick, honestly.
I just think that he's looked really great in training camp. Looks very healthy. Niners. I mean, our offensive line's whatever. It doesn't need to be the best in the league when you got a guy like Christian McCaffrey.
If he stays healthy all year,
only played 4 games last season.
Even if he stays healthy most of the year, and he looks anything like he has in years past, Christian McCaffrey will probably be comeback player of the year. However, that is not my comeback player of the year because the NFL is a quarterback-centric league. My comeback player of the year is Tua Tagovailoa. Because as long as that man stays healthy and that Miami offense looks like how it used to look, I think Tua Tagovailoa is going to be comeback player of the year. Because Christian McCaffrey dealing with the crazy, Christian McCaffrey, he had an injury that kept him out of all last season. Tua Tagovailoa has almost died 3 times. So I think he's going to win comeback player of the year just based off of that alone. How many concussions that dude's had. He goes out and he balls out like I think he will, so long as he stays healthy. I think Tua is going to be comeback player of the year. Coach of the year. Basically just an award for what do you think is the best team in the league.
Oh, yeah. Comeback player of the year is essentially anybody who, I don't think suspensions count, but anybody who got
that makes sense.
Injured for a good portion of the season, or most or all of the season.
You don't have to get injured. You could just be really buns.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, genuinely. If you just had a really bad season and come back and play crazy, essentially that award is reserved for anybody who is able to come back.
Wasn't it Sam Darnold?
Yeah.
Sam Darnold wasn't hurt. He just didn't play good until last year.
Come back and impress. All right, that's
all it is.
That's all it is.
Next
Coach
award,
of the year.
Coach of the year. Basically, like I said, it's just whoever's best team in the league almost. Now, sometimes that's not always the case, but it's usually just one of the top 5 teams. And whoever coach impressed the most. Gabe, who do you think is coach of the year?
I got Dan Campbell of the Detroit Lions. And my reasoning for this is I think that he's a great coach. I think that the guys over in Detroit rally behind him very well. And if this wasn't my pick, I would have gone with Kevin O'Connell, but I just don't think he wins it back-to-back years. And I'm kind of using the same philosophy behind why I would have picked Kevin O'Connell. Is I think O'Connell runs a great offense and B-Flow runs a great defense for them. I think when you got it going on both sides of the ball, you're putting yourself in a great position to win Coach of the Year. So I think Dan Campbell does that. I think that the defense is really good. You got Aiden Hutchinson coming back from a gruesome injury. That's another guy I'd be on watch for comeback player of the year. But I think that the defense and offense does well. Obviously, we got Jared Goff, very comfortable, very confident in that offense. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jameson Williams.
David
TJ
Montgomery.
Hawkinson. Huh?
David Montgomery.
David Montgomery. That's a good offense.
Good offense. Lost both coordinators though. How does that affect them?
How does that affect them?
I don't know.
Ben Johnson to the Bears.
That's why
another guy, coach of the year.
That's why he's not my coach of the year. Dan Campbell. The main reason Dan Campbell's not my coach of the year, besides the fact that he lost both of his coordinators, is I feel like they've been saying Dan Campbell's coach of the year for the past 4 years, and he hasn't won it yet.
Fair enough.
I just don't think it's going to happen. If you don't win it after everyone's talking about it, you're not going to win it. My coach of the year is Dan Quinn. A different Dan. But Dan Quinn.
Went with the Dans here.
I went with Dan Quinn with the Washington Commanders. I think they looked amazing last year. I mean, with a rookie quarterback, you almost went to the Super Bowl. You only lost to the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. And I think Dan Quinn really impressed people in his first year to take a team with a rookie quarterback. Do that. They added some good weapons. I think there's a lot of consistency with coaches. I think they improved the defense better. They got Deebo Samuel on the offense. I don't know how much that helps, but that's probably going to help.
Probably help more than it would have if McLaurin hadn't sat out all camp. So
right,
Deebo's fully assimilated into that offense now. So
and Cliff Kingsbury, still the offensive coordinator there, when a second-year quarterback that looked lights out in his first year. I think Dan Quinn's going to win Coach of the Year. I think the Commanders are going to be really, really good, and I think he's going to win Coach of the Year.
Very good pick.
Moving on, Defensive Rookie of the Year. So basically, this is just out of all the rookies drafted or undrafted in the NFL, which defensive player out of all of them looked the best? My Defensive Rookie of the Year should not really come as a surprise. It's Abdul Carter. He was the first. I mean, he wasn't really he was the first true defensive player drafted in the NFL, or this NFL draft, because Travis Hunter is a two-way. He plays both offense and defense, but Abdul Carter was the first defensive-only player taken, and for good reason. That dude's a menace. The New York Giants are going to be a lot better than I think people give him credit for. I believe in Russell Wilson leading that team. I think he looked really good with the Steelers last year, and I think Brian Daboll. He's still the coach for a reason. He's got a good mind when it comes to that, and so I think Abdul Carter is just going to probably be the runaway Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I like that pick.
You got a little different though.
I went a little different. And I don't know. I think that there's a lot of value behind Carter, but I like a guy named Mason Graham. Drafted out of Michigan, had a great year with them last year. Defensive tackle, very good at stuffing the hole, stopping the run. And I think that's going to be paired really well with a guy like Myles Garrett off the edge. Obviously, Abdul Carter has Brian Burns coming off the other edge, which is going to help a ton. Dexter Lawrence coming up the middle. The guy's going to feast, but I like Mason Graham. The guy is like a one-man wrecking machine. As himself as a defensive tackle, showed a lot in preseason, was able to get a couple tackles for losses. I think that he's going to show that throughout the season. With Garrett on the other side of him, I think that there's going to be a lot to deal with, especially as a quarterback. So yeah, I like Mason Graham. I like his ability to stop the run and maybe even get a couple of sacks with the help of Mr. Myles Garrett.
Good breakdown. I have no faith in Mason Graham. Unfortunately, I just proved me wrong. But
small arms.
No,
Short
he
arms?
puked his first day of practice,
and
that was enough to be like, all right, buddy. You're not quite adjusted yet.
Not quite, but
so I don't know. I think he'll pan out as a player 100%. I don't think he'll be bad. I think he'll probably be one of the better defensive tackles in the league. But at the end of the day, I just don't think he's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year because the people that win Rookie of the Year are the people that can, as quickly as possible, assimilate into the NFL. And if on your first day of camp you're like puking, I don't really see that happening. But maybe I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. But then we go to the other side of the ball. We move to the Offensive Rookie of the Year. There's not a special teams one. There needs to be a special team.
There does.
It doesn't need to be rookie, but special teams player. Come on now.
Utility man of the year.
I don't know. Anyway, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Gabe and I actually have the same one.
It's
Ashton Jeanty. He's the Raiders running back. He's going to be the Raiders offense, him and Brock Bowers. So it's pretty obvious. I mean, you can say maybe Cam Ward. You can say Tetoro McMillan. But I think the clear, obvious answer is Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah. I just think he's very productive. He's literally, we looked at Boise State the other day.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, without him, they just completely collapsed.
Yeah, they're not exactly a ranked team without him. So I think that he has a similar impact. The guy is what do you even say about him? He's not like your average player. He's a superstar.
Yeah.
That's what Ashton Genty is. He's got superstar qualities. He's able to lead an offense, be the focal point of an offense, which I mean, not a lot of people are able to do,
Yep.
no matter what level. And he did it on the college stage, and I think he brings that same level to the NFL stage. I mean, watching the Niners preseason game, he literally put Lenore into the dirt, to the turf, which was not a very fun sight for me, but I'm sure it was a fun sight for Raiders fans seeing what he's capable of. Put on some good size for the NFL, and still has the speed to go with it.
Yeah.
How's the Raiders'
I
offensive line?
It's pretty okay.
It'll get by.
Probably like middle of the pack.
It'll get them by.
Yeah, it'll get by. But I think Jancy's just the clear obvious choice. Cam Ward has got too many questions around him. I think his talent is great, but it just nobody knows how the Titans are really going to look. Is Calvin Ridley going to be his wide receiver one? Is that going to pan out?
You're banking on Calvin Ridley.
You're banking on that offensive line, which I don't think is historically good. So I just think there's a lot of questions around that. Plus, Jancy's probably just going to be the more exciting player year one. And that just goes a big part of it. Offensive Rookie of the Year, all these awards actually aren't necessarily who had the best stats at the end of the day.
No.
It's probably just who was the most exciting to watch. Because if we're being honest, last year Lamar Jackson had the best stats. Joe Burrow probably had the best stats, but Josh Allen won MVP because he was the more exciting person to watch because his team was winning more. And he hadn't won one yet. I think there was a little bias in that.
That was the argument, was pretty much.
They didn't want to give Lamar a three-peat.
They didn't want to give Lamar the three-peat, but I mean, when there's a guy doing it on both sides of the ball, kind of hard to deny. But I think maybe the Derrick Henry taking some of those rushing touchdowns definitely took away some of the allure. But I mean, Lamar improved as a passer last season as a result of it. Like, he was throwing a lot better. So definitely interesting, something to keep an eye on. But we're not at MVP yet, so we shouldn't get into it too much.
This next one, this is a new award. It's never been given out before, but in the 2025 season, the NFL is giving out Protector of the Year award, which essentially is just who's the best offensive lineman in football. This award was needed because there was a lot of great offensive talent for a long time that were just not getting their flowers. Right? There was guys like Jason Kelsey that are the reason why the Eagles were so dominant with the tush push, and it was a very apparent as soon as he wasn't in that offense last year how bad, like not how bad, but how much worse they got at the tush push. They're still really good, but there was a clear cut difference, and it's just Jason Kelsey should have won awards, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that should have won awards, and they just didn't because there was no award for it, and no one was going to give it to an offensive player of the year because that's very excitement based. So the running back, wide receiver, quarterback, and same with MVPs and all that. So it's very exciting now that we actually have a Protector of the Year award. My Protector of the Year award is Joe Alt, second year player for the Los Angeles Chargers. I think he wins it because he looked really dominant in his first year on the Chargers, and because he switched to left tackle because the Los Angeles Chargers starting left tackle Rashawn Slater is out for the season.
Yeah.
And so they moved Joe Alt from right tackle to Justin Herbert's blind spot in left tackle. And I think that that's going to add some like more likelihood that Joe Alt wins it because he's now protecting the part of the part of the field that Justin Herbert can't actually see. So I think that's going to add a lot more. The left tackles are some of the most highest paid players in football because they have to protect the quarterback from where they can't see, unless you have a left-handed quarterback like Tua. Then it's your right tackle. However, I would like to state that I think the Protector of the Year award should be retroactive to Quentin Nelson, and if he wins it, then absolutely that's good for him. Quentin Nelson probably should have like 8 Protector of the Year awards, but he just doesn't because they didn't have one. But Quentin Nelson, if he won just on principle that it goes retroactive, give it to Quentin Nelson. But Joe Alt's my prediction.
Good prediction. I am, because I don't want to go same as you the entire time, but I want to go with Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Sorry.
Penei Sewell.
Penei Sewell. I think being on one of the best offenses in the league. Obviously, he's the left tackle, so he's going to be blindside protection for.
Left tackle. He was right tackle for a little bit. It just says offensive tackle. I think they probably move him around.
I thought he was left tackle, but anyways, tackle for one of the best offenses in the league in the Lions. Obviously, that passing game is one of the bigger parts of that offense with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Jared Goff moving it through the air. And I think if you're protecting your quarterback, able to stay on the field for 17 games, and are doing it against some of the best edge rushers in the league, you are definitely making a case for yourself. I think Penei Sewell, along with the size, the skill, the footwork, I think he's one of the better offensive linemen in the league, and is going to win Protector of the Year.
Penei Sewell plays right tackle.
He's a right tackle.
See, that's why I think Joe Alt has more of a chance, because he has to
guards
protect
the
that
blind
blind
side.
side. Moving on to the more prestigious picks. These are the ones that people care about the most. Defensive Player of the Year. I'll let Gabe start because he's a homer.
I'm a homer. I go Nick Bosa in these cases. I mean, when we think about the last time that Bosa had a assistance on the defensive line, which was like 4 years ago, when Armstead was still with us, Eric Armstead. Jaguars defensive tackle? Jaguars? He might still be there, might not. Not something I really keep up with the Jaguars, fortunately. Brian Thomas Jr., shout out. But I think Nick Bosa has Mykel Williams, 13th overall pick out of Georgia. Very good defensive end for Georgia last season. I don't want to say that our schemes are too similar to Georgia's, but, I think with a guy like Saleh, we'll get a lot of... I think he'll cater to guys, get them some looks that are similar to what they have in college. Saleh's a great defensive mind. He's going to get them implemented wherever they need to be in the defense. I think he sets up Mykel Williams in good positions that allows Bosa not to be double teamed every time, which is what we'd been dealing with recently. Still somehow leads the league in pressures, but, doesn't show up on the sack sheet. So I think that those numbers start to change this season. Along with the pressures, we start to get some more sacks because we get more one-on-ones. Bosa's great one-on-one. When he's double teamed, it's a little harder. When he's getting chipped, it's a little harder. As with anybody in the league. But I think, some pass rush on the other edge. Alfred Collins coming up the middle. We have a little bit more help on the defensive line. And then with Saleh back, we'll get some more like linebacker rush linebacker blitzes. Like we'll get Warner get sent up the middle sometimes. So, have some variety. Let's get some better looks for Bosa to get some sacks. I think he wins Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, he's got the ability to. I'm not going to discredit that.
He's done it before.
And I think,
That's my thought behind it.
I think with Robert Saleh coming back to the Niners, that's going to be huge. I think that's something that people haven't really talked about enough. But Robert Saleh is a great defensive mind. And the Niners looked really good when he was their defensive coordinator. So having him back, I think, is going to play a big part into Nick Bosa's year and the rest of that Niners defense. However, I still just don't think that Nick Bosa is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. I am a Raider fan. I want nothing more than Max Crosby to win Defensive Player of the Year. But the defensive line is not good enough for him to do it. He gets double teamed, kind of similar to Nick Bosa. He gets double teamed every snap, and the sacks just don't always appear. I think he only had like 8 last year because he just doesn't have anybody on the opposite side of him. I mean, Malcolm Kuntz looked really good at the end of the 2023 season, but then he was injured and didn't get to play for the 2024 season. So we had no idea what that tandem was actually going to look like. And maybe he'll be good, maybe he won't. We don't know because he just came off an injury and he hasn't played in over a year. So that's tough. And then on top of that, Christian Wilkins was acting a little funky in the locker room, and he's gone now. And so you don't get a premier defensive tackle on that defensive line either. So Max Crosby is all by himself again. And again. Happens every year. So, with that being said, as much as I want Max Crosby to win Defensive Player of the Year, I believe the Defensive Player of the Year is going to be Micah Parsons. This is very, very, very relevant considering that Micah Parsons just got traded from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers have a much better defense than the Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion. I also think the Green Bay Packers are a better, one more hopeful team than the Dallas Cowboys. I think they have a lot of excitement around them, and that defensive line is much better than the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Having Rashawn Gary on the outside, on the other side of Micah Parsons, is going to be insane. And I think Micah Parsons has a Saquon type year, where Saquon got traded. Well, I guess it was the offseason, so he didn't get traded. But Saquon left the Giants, signed with the Philadelphia Eagles, immediately became Offensive Player of the Year and the rushing champion, and won a Super Bowl. I don't think the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl. Little hint in my early prediction. You get 1 out of 32 teams that aren't going to win it. But I think that Michael Parsons is going to be Defensive Player of the Year. I think he makes that defense so much better. That defensive front is going to be so much more impactful. They're going to probably get like 10 sacks a game. Like, it's just, I think they're going to be that good on the defensive line. And so I think Michael Parsons is going to be the reason why. I think he inspires probably other players on that defense too, like Rashawn Gary. And so Michael Parsons, I expect him to have a Saquon type year. Go to a new team, immediately ball out, and win Defensive Player of the Year. On the other side of the ball, Offensive Player of the Year. Both Gabe and I went receiver here.
Receiver.
But I went Jamar Chase. Questionable considering Jamar Chase is the number 1 overall pick in most fantasy drafts, and that usually doesn't pan out. But you know what? I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious. I'm not superstitious. So I think Jamar Chase will win Offensive Player of the Year. He had lights out numbers last year, and I think that some players like Bijan and Saquon, they'll be right up there. You know, that's why they're so high in fantasy, but I don't think they're going to be the guy. I think Jamar Chase is number 1 in fantasy for a reason, and I think it's because he's going to be Offensive Player.
I respect that. I can get behind a Jamar Chase Offensive Player of the Year, but I'm not getting behind it this year, all right? Wild card pick. This man plays with terrible quarterbacks, so why can't he do it with a good one? Malik Neighbors of the New York Giants had 1,200 yards on 109 receptions last season. You know who was throwing him the football?
Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, nobody wants these guys at quarterback, and you know he makes do with it, and that's what I respect about him. You know, not a real Tommy DeVito guy here, but I'm a real Malik Neighbors guy, and you know when you can go for 1,200 yards with the most ragtag group of quarterbacks, why can't you do it with Russell Wilson, who I think got a lot of trash from Broncos fans when he shouldn't have.
Yeah, I think Russell Wilson got way too much hate with his Denver stand. I think Denver was just the worst possible team.
Terrible, like just terrible for him to go to. And even the Steelers, they're just not a good team around him. So
I mean, they were okay. They looked good. They looked like the Steelers look every year, where it's just like 8-8.
Mid.
Well, not anymore, but 9-8.
Yeah,
I don't hate that
17 game season. They can't be 8-8 anymore.
I don't hate that pick. I think Malik Neighbors is really, really good, and I could totally see him winning Offensive Player of the Year.
I think he matured a lot in his first season, having to work with so many different quarterbacks. And I think when you have some security with your quarterback in Russell Wilson, I think they're going to have a good rapport, a lot of trust between the two of them. Because it's like clear-cut wide receiver 1. He's not competing with anybody. Not that there could be anybody to compete with. But I like this. I like the situation for him.
I like that pick actually too, because if Russell Wilson does end up getting hurt, having Jackson Dart step in doesn't really diminish his value, right? I don't know if they would rather have Jameis step in. I think it'd probably be Jackson Dart.
It would be Dart.
But Dart looks really good. I thought he looked good coming out of college. And so I think that Dart filling in for Russell Wilson in case he goes down, you know, hoping that doesn't happen. But if it does, I don't hate that Malik Neighbors would still probably end up being Offensive Player of the Year. And honestly, that'd probably make a stronger case for him, because if Russell Wilson were to go down and then Dart comes in and he still has the same numbers as Russell Wilson, they would be like, the reason why is because of Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
So I like that pick, honestly. But the grand pick of them all is the most valuable player. The best player in all of the NFL, also known as the Quarterbacks Award, because they don't ever give it to anyone who deserves it who's not a quarterback. But with that being said, most valuable player, most valuable quarterback. They should really just change it to the most valuable quarterback.
Valuable quarterback.
Most valuable player award. Gabe, who do you got?
I got Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, a guy who was
safe pick,
pretty much set to repeat last year. Kind of I don't. There's no robberies. All right, let's not stop calling everything that's close a robbery. But I think that he definitely deserved it. Definitely had his rights to the right of way to this MVP. Um, Definitely did not benefit from the Derrick Henry taking his touchdowns, but like I said, he improved a lot as a passer. Was able to throw outside the numbers, which he kind of wasn't able to do as much, and doesn't help that he doesn't have a Jamar Chase to throw to, but he's made do with Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers. All right,
Yeah.
these are not like household receiver names, not guys that you're going to be like particularly picking as
They got
your wide
D-Hop,
receiver
though.
one in fantasy,
They
but
got D-Hop.
they do have D Hop, so
A little old now, though.
he's a little older, but safety net for him to throw to. Still got hands. Jackson improved a lot as a passer. Think he's still got the legs to run with. If anything, I think that's causes more trouble for teams because not only is he a better passer now, could always throw on the run, but now he can really mix it up, throw off defenses. You never know.
I mean, honestly, if I was John Harbaugh, I would probably just do read option every time. If I'm being honest, because I could not imagine.
You can do RPOs, run pass options.
I couldn't imagine as a defensive end being like, should I crash down and follow Derrick Henry or should I stay back and try to follow Lamar Jackson? It's a lose-lose either way.
Yeah.
Because even if you do stay back, Lamar Jackson's going to get around you. And if you do crash down, Derrick Henry's going to truck through you. I'll just do that. I'll just run the Navy offense. Wing T every time. But you mentioned Lamar doesn't have a Jamar Chase. My offensive player of the year. You know who does have a Jamar Chase? My MVP, Joe Shiesty. Joe Burrow for MVP. This man deserved it so badly last year. But his team was so bad. The Cincinnati Bengals were atrocious on defense. And his offensive line was not very good. And so they didn't make playoffs. But his stats were
That's
insane.
one thing I heavily disagree with. While Gunner looks those up, I am so mad that the MVP award in pretty much any sport at this point is so closely tied to record. Like so closely tied to team success because it's not a team award, Like this is the most valuable player to his team. What does it look like when this player is on the field versus off the field? Like how much of a difference does that make? What's the differential between how valuable is that guy to the team?
Exactly. It's like I've heard people mention about that argument with the Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh, who's going to be AL MVP. Oh, the Mariners aren't as good as the Yankees. I don't care. Cal Raleigh is a switch hitting catcher that has over 50 home runs. That's never been done before.
He's guiding the pitching staff and hitting home runs.
He is the most important defensive player, and he is the best hitter on that team. If you ask me right now, add one person to your team, I would choose Cal Raleigh because I love Patrick Bailey as a defensive player, but as an offensive hitter, he's not that good. He's not been historically good, and so I would add Cal Raleigh. He's the most valuable player, but people are like, oh, but the Yankees are a little bit better. And that's what happened with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow in 2024 had 4,918 passing yards on a 70% completion rating. 5,000 yards on 70% completion rating. 43 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He had less than 10 picks and 43 touchdowns with 108.5 QB rating. That is the best offensive stat of all time last year. Not all time, but all of last year. Joe Burrow had the best offensive stats. His team was just so bad around him that he didn't make playoffs. And so they were like, well, he can't be the most valuable player because his team didn't make playoffs. Nobody put up numbers like this.
No.
So I think he gets his lick back, and I think that Joe Burrow wins the MVP. And that's why I actually picked Jamar Chase as my offensive player of the year. I think those dudes have a vengeance. They're going to come out swinging, and they're going to show everybody what they are. And I think the Bengals are going to look really, really good. I think they are going to rival the Baltimore Ravens and the Steelers. I think they're going to – I don't know if they're going to win their division. The Ravens are that good. But if they make playoffs, Joe Burrow's MVP. He has to be. Honestly, in just retroactive purposes, he has to be.
You got to open up the season well this year. They always get off on the wrong foot. So they can win the first couple games, so then they're going to be in a good spot.
Yeah. Speaking of teams in a good spot, you know where a good spot is? The conference championship. And that's what we're talking about right now. Our NFC champions. Who we think is going to the Super Bowl from the NFC side. Gabe, who do you got?
I got the Lions. Call it a
Why?
safe pick. Call it whatever you want. All right.
Honestly.
I like that the Lions consistently play good competition throughout the year. You know, you play the Vikings. I think they play the Niners again this year. But Lions are always primed for the playoffs, primed for a good playoff run. I think, you know, you gotta get everything, you know, lined up. They didn't have Hutchinson, which is a massive part of their defense for the latter half of the season. That definitely hurt. But you know, I think that this offense has matured. We're in year 4 or 5 for a lot of these guys. I think this is Goff's third year with the Lions.
It's longer than that.
Longer than that. Anywho, they are very much assimilated into this offense. I think, you know, Ben Johnson leaving, Aaron Glenn leaving, it hurts. It's not good. Any team is going to struggle. We saw the Niners struggled after losing Saleh and Ryans, because then we brought in some rando.
McDaniels.
And McDaniels. I think as so long as you're not bringing in a Steve Wilkes, you might be good.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know who they brought in.
the inverse can be true too, because the Eagles lost both their quarterbacks. They lost Gannon and Steichen, and they made the Super Bowl like a couple years later.
Yep.
So possible.
It's possible.
I don't know if it's this year though.
It's culture, and I think Dan Campbell does a good job at maintaining culture. So,
plus he found those offensive and defensive coordinators, so I think he'll find the next ones.
He'll find the next ones. He's connected in the industry, so I got Lions. But who do you got for your NFC champs?
Well, interesting. Your coach of the year brought his team to the Super Bowl on the NFC side. My coach of the year is bringing his team to the Super Bowl from the NFC side. I believe the Washington Commanders, these haters can't stand us. They are gonna go to the Super Bowl. They're gonna be the NFC champions. I loved Jaden Daniels in his first year. I love the offense that they're building.
Here lies Jaden Daniels.
Plus, they're adding Bill. Come on. You got to root for Bill. Bill's going to carry, bro. Jaden Daniels, Bill Krosky Merritt, Debo Samuel, Terry McLaurin, who just signed a fat contract. The defense got better. Dan Quinn's there. Offensive coordinator's still there. Defensive coordinator's still there. They look like they're primed for success. And I know they have a tough division. I think the Giants are going to be better than people are giving them credit for. The Cowboys, who knows? Consistently always there, but always not quite there. You know, they're there, but they're not there, you know. They're like right borderline every single year. And then the Eagles, of course, are the defending Super Bowl champions. Really hard to go back to back. But I like the NFC East. I think that the Commanders are going to make the Super Bowl. I just have all the faith in Jaden Daniels. JD5, baby. Carry me to greatness.
Tons of respect for him.
In the other conference, though, the AFC, we have a little bit of a different story. We got some teams that have been in the playoffs consistently, but haven't quite made it all the way yet.
Haven't quite.
I have the Baltimore Ravens going to the Super Bowl from the AFC side. I have them being the AFC champions. We mentioned earlier he wasn't my MVP, but that's because of what happened later. He wasn't my MVP, but Lamar Jackson has an insane year. Derrick Henry needs to, he's going to be Derrick Henry. I think the team got better. I don't think they got worse over the offseason. I think they did get better. The Ravens have always quite been there. Just not quite enough, but knocking on the door. And I think this year is going to be the year that Lamar Jackson's going to dig down deep and be like, no, I am winning, because his legs aren't going to last him forever. He's not going to have that dynamic of his game forever. And I think he knows that.
Yep.
So he's like, I need to do it now. I think he's going to come out hungry. So I have the Baltimore Ravens going to the Super Bowl from the AFC side.
Funny, you have my quarterback, my MVP, going to the Super Bowl, but I don't quite agree, because I think Josh Allen and the Bills go all the way this year. It's a little strange because they don't really have like an oh my god defense. You know, they're not gonna but that offense, man. I mean, Josh Allen himself, he's not really got like crazy weapons. James Cook just got signed for like 6 years. Congrats to him on the contract. Very capable running back nonetheless. You know, may not be your B. Johns and Saquons, but he's James Cook, younger brother of Dalvin Cook, They're cooking. I think Keon Coleman, reference to the first episode.
Second episode. Our fantasy football.
Fantasy football episode. I'm lying to you. Your first episode, you would be meeting Darrell Evans. Second episode, Keon Coleman, our sleeper
of the day.
Sleeper of the day.
You know, he got picked one pick before me in my draft. It was the 7th round. I was like, I'm going to take him. And then the dude before me, Drew. I love you, Drew. How dare you? You know what? That's why the Lions aren't making this.
It was a terrible pick, Drew. How would you do that?
The Commanders are. I also didn't get O'Marion Hampton. I ended up with CD.
Okay.
CD Lamb. And the reason why I took CD Lamb, I know I'm going off tangent, taking your time a little bit. The reason why I took CD Lamb is because Justin Jefferson is dealing with a hamstring injury, and I believe hamstring injuries are going to plague players the entire season. If he's not healthy right now, it's only going to get worse. I think by like week 3 or 4, he's going to start to feel it tighten up, and that's going to suck. And I don't want that to happen. I root for him to be healthy the entire year, but I just don't see that happening. And I think where I was, I think in a half PPR, CD Lamb makes the most sense. But anyway, go on, Bills, make it.
Oh, Bills.
Bills.
They don't have Bill, all right, but
they don't have Bill.
They are the Bills. Josh Allen, MVP last year. Not that, he didn't deserve it. There were guys with better stats than him, but nonetheless, he was in the conversation. He was in the conversation to win MVP.
Yeah.
And he's pretty consistently in that conversation because the man can throw the football. To whoever, too. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's not like he's got, like, premier receivers. Stephon Diggs was dope. I love that connection for the time that they had it. I think that really helped him as a quarterback kind of coming up.
So, I got the Ravens. Gabe's got the Bills. I think those are both solid squads to win it. We both have the AFC. It's interesting. We both have the AFC.
We kind of, flip-flopped to, like, similar
we did. Neither of us had our Coach of the Year winning the Super Bowl, but we had them going to it. Which is it's just and then we picked the AFC. It's interesting belief system, I guess. But the reason why I did pick the Ravens, or the reason why I didn't put Lamar Jackson as the MVP, especially, is because I think the Ravens will win the Super Bowl, and MVPs don't win Super Bowls that often. Patrick Mahomes, I think, is the first one that happened in since 2000. That was it. I think Kurt Warner in 2000 was the last one
to win,
or 99. I think it was technically 99.
Super Bowl the same way,
but he's the last
MVP.
One.
Wow,
last one. Never happened. Lot of MVPs made the Super Bowl and they lost. So last one was Patrick Mahomes, and before that, Kurt Warner.
Mahomes won it the year that he lost to Brady, right?
Yep.
Wow.
Wait, he I think it was his third Super Bowl that he won, where he got MVP and he still won. Anyway, that wraps up our NFL awards and predictions for the season. Let us know in the comments if you guys disagree or agree with any of it. If you have some egregious takes, I want to hear them because I think those are the most fun kind of takes. If you think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl, it's pretty plain. You think the Seattle Seahawks are winning the Super Bowl, there you go. There's an egregious take I want to hear. So let us know in the comments. This part of the podcast, though, I love. I don't do a lot of talking during it, but I love it because it's so cool to see a deep dive from someone who knows so much about something that you don't know that much about. I know a good amount, but not like what Gabe knows here. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second edition ever of Gabe in the Cage.
Welcome back to Gabe in the Cage. Obviously a great segment for me because I love to talk about MMA, boxing, whatever it is. And fun segment for Gunner as well. Fun segment for me to be allowed to speak about these things in front of Gunner. It allows me to kind of just talk about everything, teach him a little bit about the stuff that I'm interested in, teach you a little bit about the stuff that I'm interested in. And one of the good things about the month of September is we've got a lot going on. No UFC pay-per-view, which is a little unusual, but that's because Dana White is spending a lot of his time promoting a boxing card going on September 13th, which is my birthday.
Happy early birthday.
Happy early birthday. Appreciate it. That night is Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Bud Crawford.
Yep.
If you're around the fighting space, you've definitely heard about it.
Even if you're not around it, you probably heard somebody.
You probably heard about it. If Canelo's fighting, you've heard about it.
Even if Terrence Crawford's fighting.
If Terrence Crawford's fighting, you've probably heard about it. Yeah, so they're going head to head. Turkey Al Sheik put the money down, got them to agree to a fight, free on Netflix. Well, live on Netflix. Yeah, you have to pay for Netflix, but I mean the
That's
quality of the
pretty.
fight.
That's
You
pretty
get a
crazy.
Netflix subscription, definitely worth it more than the
Pay-per-views.
$70,
Yeah.
$80 pay per views that you pay for one event, and sometimes the event doesn't even. I've known a couple of pay per views that didn't even like show up, or there was issues with the broadcast. So we're going to Netflix. It'll probably break the service. I know that the
Oh yeah.
Paul versus Tyson uh, got at Netflix to get shut down. So um, I think that's probably going to break the service, but something to keep an eye on because it's pretty much unheard of. You never really see too many guys fighting from two separate weight classes, especially the discrepancy, I believe, is two weight classes. And for superstars of the sport, pound for pound superstars, Canelo's like fourth, Crawford's like third, fourth. Um, yeah, it's a great fight. I think that Canelo, obviously, is the bigger guy, has been in there with all of anybody that you can name. He got the Floyd fight. He's got the Bivol fight, both of which he ended up losing. But I think that those are both very great experiences for him.
That was a
And
while ago too.
that was a while ago, exactly. But people still give Canelo trash for losing to those guys. Obviously, in my mind,
I
most
don't think anybody should ever give somebody trash for losing to Floyd
right.
Mayweather.
Floyd
Everyone
Mayweather.
loses to Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, and then even Dimitri Bivol, one of the top boxers in the sport now, he had to go up a weight class to fight him. Ended up losing by decision, which is whatever. Lost two decisions to some of the best boxers of his generation.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll mind very much. Terrence Bud Crawford, one of the best boxers of the generation as well. He's a switch hitter, very good counter striker. Not really something that Canelo's too unfamiliar with though. He's fought some switch hitters. I believe Ryder was a switch hitter, and then a lot of counter punchers throughout his career. He kind of learned how to counter punch off of that Floyd fight. Just because Floyd is able to use the mixed flow between defense and offense so smoothly that he not only was he picked off of that and learned how to utilize head movement, and then utilize that into like learning how to get different leverages and positions to throw punches in, how he could generate the most power.
Yeah,
But you can't fall asleep against a guy like Crawford.
Floyd revolutionized defense.
Yeah.
With the Philly shell.
The Philly
You
shell
know,
basically
that's-
didn't get hit.
Yeah, I mean, and he protects his body with his other free hand.
His
Which is
other free hand.
so smart.
Mhm.
But I think that Canelo facing a guy like Floyd Mayweather very early on in his career, and then he's been dominant since then. I definitely believe that nobody should give him crap for losing to those
two fights
fights.
to very good guys. And I have a ton of respect for Terrence Bud Crawford. Obviously, most people do in the sport. He's a dangerous switch hitter, but I don't think that's going to be enough. I don't think he brings enough power, especially considering Canelo's fought guys heavier than him, to kind of put the hurt on him. I think he, you want to say that he could do it by decision, but even then, Canelo's fought to a lot of decisions, especially recently. Older in age, hasn't been getting as many knockouts. He's gotten a lot of knockdowns, but not too many knockouts because he's not really, standing in the fire the whole time. Obviously, learning from that Floyd fight. Before then, he would stand in the fire and get knockouts, but now it's a lot more even keeled, kind of working his way, finding those shots that do produce those knockdowns, but he's not gonna be like throwing it all.
I mean, he's a lighter guy too, so he's not a heavyweight.
Yeah, so Canelo, I got Canelo in that fight. I just think that he probably does get a knockdown on Crawford, and I know that's crazy to say. I think Crawford's hasn't been knocked down. If he has, it's been one time, and it was controversial, considered a slip or something. But yeah, Canelo, generational fighter, has been doing it for the last couple of decades, and I think he's still very capable. Has shown it in his last couple of fights against like Berlanga, dropped him, finished him actually. Yeah, he still got it. I don't think a switch hitter is going to be mixing it up enough to really confuse him. And
I also don't think that Canelo is going to be fighting for very much longer because he is getting a little older. So he's probably ready to leave it all out on the line.
Yeah, for sure. This is not going to be. I think it'd be a good fight, especially something you can watch on Netflix.
Yeah.
I think the event starts at 6.
Yeah, if
Main
I don't
event
gotta pay
ring
for it, I'm
walks.
absolutely tuning in.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Netflix, you gotta give it a go. So yeah, we got that on September 13th that night. Another UFC promoted boxer, Callum Walsh, fighting in the co-main event of that card. So definitely something to look out for, that September 13th boxing card. But that's not all we got going on, because UFC is still going on. UFC, year-round sport. This weekend, September 6th, this is September 1st, as of when we're recording this podcast. September 6th, Nasruddin Imavov versus Caio Borralho. Many consider this the number one contender fight. Imavov has been the number one contender at middleweight 185 for cool 8 months now. He knocked out Israel Adesanya in like the first round of their fight, which was pretty unprecedented. He's one of the best strikers in the sport, so nobody thought that was going to happen. Imavov's got good boxing though, so led to the overhand right securing him knockdown. Finished off the fight from there. He's fighting Borralho, a fighting nerd. This is a Brazilian group of guys. His teammate Mauricio Rufy fighting in the co-main event against lightweight Benoit Saint Denis. But Borralho, 17-1 in the sport, just fought Jared Cannonier to a decision where he knocked him down in the 5th round. Had him battered and bloodied. Not too many guys beat up Jared Cannonier the way that Borralho was able to. Not too many guys stand in the octagon for 25 minutes the way that Borralho was able to. So I think he's very unique because the different guys in the fighting nerds are good at different things. Some are better at submissions. Some are better at, getting stylish, flashy knockouts. Like Rufy got a spinning heel kick knockout on Bobby Green. Put him out cold last time out. But Borralho's he's a more well-balanced guy. Doesn't get as many knockouts, but it's kind of hard to when you're at the top of the division. Rufy's making his way up. Protes, another guy, about to fight for Leon Edwards for top contender spot. But Borralho's a very well-balanced guy. His submission game is very good. Submission defense. Wrestling's very good. Striking's good. He does it all over. And I think that when Imavov's facing a guy like Izzy, who's kind of worried about the takedown, Izzy was leaning back, kind of trying to create space between him and Imavov. That's when the overhand right landed. I don't think Borralho is going to respect that space a whole lot. And when you're respecting space, sometimes you can get a little lackadaisical with your defense because you're focused on footwork, getting out of the way when you got a punch coming right over the top. So I think that Borralho's a little more clean with the defense. Hasn't gotten dropped, I don't think, in the UFC. I think he's also undefeated in the UFC, along with every other fighting nerd. So I think Borralho was able to take it out. I got decision win for him. He doesn't take a lot of these to knock out. It's not
He's
like
technically
Imavov's
the underdog, no?
He's the underdog because Imavov's been the number one contender for like 8 months now, like I said.
Yeah.
And
wow. Upset. Gabe
upset.
predicting the upset.
I got the upset. I like these fighting nerds guys. They have a good brand of fighting. I don't think that just because I say decision, I don't mean it's going to be a boring fight by any stretch of the word.
Yeah.
Borralho's an extremely exceptional fighter. I think they're going to be striking. You're going to see some grappling. All I know is that blood will be shed on September 6th. It's a Brazil versus Paris card. We've got, I think, 5 Brazilian fighters fighting 5 French fighters on that card.
Where's it at?
It's in Paris.
Oh, that makes sense. Obviously.
It's a noon start time on that card, so main event will be around.
I'm curious
2:30.
why they got all the Brazilian guys, though.
It's interesting, right? Because UFC Rio's like September or October. It's in October, so why would you not have the Brazilians fight?
All right. That's odd.
But there's still a ton of Brazilians on that card, so.
That's true. What's up after that?
After this card, weekend? Next weekend, September 13th, my birthday, we also have a card in San Antonio, Texas, UFC Noche. This is the annual Mexican heritage event.
Okay. That's cool. I didn't know they do that.
Yeah, we've been doing it for 3 years now, I think. Started with Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. I think that was their second fight.
She's so technical. I love that.
She's a dog. Her fight, she's going to defend her title in November against Zhang Weili. They just announced that.
Those are my 2 favorite UFC fighters.
That's a super fight right there.
I love them. So, like, Zhang Weili, I just like the way she just leaves everything out there. I've seen her shed more blood in the UFC than probably anybody else. She just lays everything out. And then Shevchenko's the most technical fighter I've ever seen out of that women's card. I mean, out of probably like the UFC, if I'm being honest. I don't remember who she was fighting, but the first time I was introduced to her, she just waited on everything, and everything had a counter. If you get like a sloppy little shin kick, counter.
Yeah.
Sloppy little jab, counter. Everything. Yep. Everything had a counter. And it wasn't just like one counter, it was a combo. Just like you threw one little tiny jab and it was, counter, counter, counter. And I was
Sharp Muay Thai combo.
I just couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
So I fell in love with that style of game.
Yeah. Shevchenko used to be a kickboxer, so that's why her striking looks so good. Countering. Her wrestling's fantastic. Ever since she got in the UFC, she's improved on her grappling.
It's so unheard
by
of
tenfold.
Too, with a kickboxer.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And one thing that kind of allows her to do that is she modified her stance a little bit. Obviously, in kickboxing, you can be a little more wide stance, just able to create a lot of leverage. Whereas when you're in the UFC, you kind of have to have a little tighter of a stance because takedowns are coming. You need to be able to react quicker, sprawl and stuff. So she has like a tight stance, but she's like just like bouncing, just like in the same position. So she like, I don't want to say that she's completely a counter puncher, but like she can create offense, and if you want to throw offense at her, she will make you pay for it. Because she's sitting like this, like she's not like doing too much with her body. She's just waiting. She's looking at you, waiting for the strikes to come. If they come at her, she's able to throw off a 2-3 strike counter that is pretty devastating.
I love that. Hey, we might need to have a Kings of Second Street watch party for that.
Oh yeah,
for that
100%.
Weili Shevchenko fight. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the co-main event of the Pereira versus Ankalaev.
We need to have a fight. We need to have a fight party watch party for that.
Yeah, well, I'd definitely be down to do a little live stream watching on to the pay-per-view. That'd be nice. That'd be a fun
absolutely.
Time. But back to this weekend. Back to the weekend after. So we have two fighting nerds fighting on the Imavov versus Barrio card. We have Rufi and Barrio. The next weekend on September 13th is a 3 p.m. start time in San Antonio. We have Jean Silva, another fighting nerd, fighting Diego Lopez in the main event, in which many consider to be a number 1 contender fight at featherweight, which is Volkanovski's division. If something crazy happens, you could see one of these guys potentially fighting for the title, like say Jean Silva, who's become like one of the best knockout artists in the UFC, just like flatlining people. If he gets a quick knockout, doesn't get hurt, you could see him fighting for the title. But Lerone Murphy, in this previous card, fighting nerds. Lerone Murphy got a spinning back elbow KO on Aaron Pico, which is like a Bellator prospect. Pico used to be like a NCAA All-American. He was really highly touted coming into MMA. Fought in Bellator, came over. First fight against a top contender. It was on short notice for Murphy. He wasn't set to fight anybody. Came in, knocked him out with a spinning back elbow, which was the fight after Carlos Prates, the fourth and final fighting nerd, who knocked out Joff Neal with a spinning back elbow. So we had two back-to-back spinning back elbows. Very entertaining. I'll put a little like screenshot of where they made contact, but if you want to go look those up on the UFC Instagram or some TikTok or anything like that, those are very nice knockouts. If you're into that kind of stuff, I don't know, you might not like seeing somebody get knocked out cold, but for me, it was pretty entertaining.
Gabe does.
Yeah, go watch that if you're into that. But
I don't know if anyone else liked it as much as Gabe.
I'm a little maniac about it.
If it wasn't a sport, I'd probably be worried about you.
A little worried, right? So we put sport on it, but just feeding into our vices. Anyways, Jean Silva versus Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez fought Volkanovski for the title after Topuria vacated to go up to lightweight. Ended up losing the decision to Volkanovski, which, I mean, nobody's going to take anything away from you for that. It's Volkanovski. He's one of the greatest featherweights of all time. Man's a decision machine. He can go 25 minutes easily. Cardio's there. Skills are there all the way across the board. Really just beat Diego up in the wrestling, which was kind of surprising because Diego's known as a grappler, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, but couldn't really show out too much there. And I think that kind of doesn't bode well for him in a matchup against Jean Silva. who has competed in grappling, not known for grappling because he prefers to stay on the feet, but that's because you can't take him down. Like many people have tried in the UFC. He's got phenomenal takedown defense, and not only like that, but like as you're trying to take him down, he's talking to you, like calling you names and stuff, like really frustrating you, and then you get back on the feet trying to strike with him, and then he knocks you out. So he's a very psychological fighter. Taunts a lot. He's starts barking at you before the fight, and like it's a lot of stuff going on there. But he fought or he competed against Mika Galvão, who is one of the best Brazilian jiu-jitsu grapplers in the world. If he can compete at a high level, then he's not going to have too many problems with a guy like Diego Lopez. Especially with the fighting nerds, they have all very good training partners there. It's a growing gym in Brazil, so they're getting a bunch of new faces. But Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you're going to get plenty of good training partners down there. I think Silva, by round 2, KO. I think straight KO. I don't even think we're getting a TKO. I think he just flatlines him with like an overhand right or something. Just gets him up against the fence, start throwing combos, slips one over the top, kind of like Topuria does, and finds himself in position to maybe fight for the title. But I think Murphy with the spinning back elbow is going to get the opportunity first.
All right.
So, yeah, hopefully you're able to enjoy the next couple of fight cards coming up. I love to talk about this stuff. If you have any comments, suggestions, anything you want to talk about, I will chit chat with you in the comments. I love talking this stuff. So,
yeah, I want you guys to know on this computer and his computer, there are no notes about anything with the UFC. That was
I was
all
literally
from
just
his
looking
brain.
at the cards.
We
Yeah,
have plenty of notes about other things and stats, but that was all of his brain. The only thing he's looking at is the fight card that is coming up.
Yeah.
So the fact that he knows all that, this is what I mean when I say that I commend your genius of the UFC, because I don't know if I've ever met someone with this level of ball knowledge in the UFC.
Hey.
I don't even know if it's called ball knowledge, just bag knowledge, I guess.
Yeah, this is
He's got a very deep bag, and I think that we all got a little bit smarter from this today. I think we all learned a lot. Might have to go rewatch it a couple times to fully understand it because there's so much information.
So much information.
But at the end of the day, it's like that's awesome that you can just have all that information stored away in your head.
Yeah, let me know if you want some more structure to it. I kind of just went and banged out every card and started talking about different people everywhere, but hopefully it was in an enjoyable manner. Hopefully I'm like engaged with it.
Just bang it out in the streets.
Yeah, just bang it out in the streets, you know? It's Fight Club.
My family will get that.
I don't, but you know.
Yeah, it's inside joke. Anyway, that wraps it up though, right?
That wraps up Gabe in the Cage.
Shout out Gabe in the Cage.
Yeah, next time up we'll be talking October pay-per-views, which will be a lot of fun for me. But yeah, until then, enjoy the Canelo Crawford fight card. Enjoy the couple UFC cards coming up.
There you go. Where can they watch those? The Canelo's on Netflix. Where are the other ones?
Both will be on ESPN Plus. So
Awesome.
Until next year, when the Paramount Plus deal clocks in, like $7 billion deal between Paramount and the UFC to get exclusive viewing rights. So that'll be
That's the way it works now. We are in the stream era. The UFC is following. I mean, they're part of the TKO board, which is what the WWE is like under. That's like the parent company of the UFC and the WWE is the TKO group, and so that's kind of just the era that we're in. I mean, the WWE they switched from pay-per-view a couple years ago to Peacock streaming, and now they're on Netflix with Raw, and it's insanely more popular than SmackDown on USA Network. It's just that's what works.
And that attributed to the UFC's decision to go to Paramount because
Exactly.
a lot of people were speculating that they go to Netflix because obviously WWE has to deal with them now. But I mean, fishing up $7 billion is a lot for anything. And I think it's nice for Paramount because they don't really have a lot of sports going on. It's not like a whole lot of like, they'll be the primary like place for UFC and stuff. So it's nice for them. It's nice for the UFC. They're ditching the pay-per-view model. I don't know if I mentioned that or anything, but kind of going the same route as the WWE.
It's just so much better because if you're a diehard fan of this, it's so much easier to just go to the one place for it all the time. I think like a great example of how it doesn't work well is the NFL, right? How they have, I have to watch Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime, and then Sunday it's Fox, CBS, NBC, Monday nights ESPN. Oh, this game's on Roku for the MLB. This game is on Apple TV. This game's on Netflix. There's just too many, right? So having them all documented in one place is the best. Because I, as someone who actively keeps up with the WWE, watching them all on Peacock, it just makes my life so much simpler. Because I'm not going to shell out money for the pay-per-views. I'm just not. But I will pay monthly for the Peacock, right? And they're going to make more money doing that. because more people are out there like me that's like, yeah, I got $7 for Peacock, but I'm not going to spend $100 on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So I think there's a lot more opportunity in the stream era, and keeping it all on one platform, not just whoever bids on it that week. I think that's the better strategy to go. So, but yeah, that wraps up this episode. That's Gabe in the cage. That's this pod. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate all the support, and just, I mean, through everyone who's liked and subscribed and watched and donated, this is what we've got so far. And it's only getting better. And this is so awesome that we can even just, in 3 episodes, have a better setup and more confidence and exciting things to talk about. And I'm so excited for what the future holds and where we're going to be and where, God takes us within the next year, 2 years, and however many subscribers later. So we really appreciate all of it. All this love that you guys have shown us. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Remember, hit the bell notification so you never miss a video. I'm not sure if they still have that like bell notification for some videos. I don't remember, but there should be like a couple options. But hit the bell notification. You mess around with it. There's also going to be links in the description to donate to either our PayPal, so that if you want to help directly fund this podcast, and that way no third party takes any chunk of it at all. If you want to help fund it, like I said, all of it's going to be recycled back into the podcast, reinvested into it. We're not going to take any of it and put it in our own pockets. And there's also the link in the description to donate to Mount Diablo Unified School District. They just got hit with that horrible vandalism of their $3 million new football field at Mount Diablo High. And they really need the help. I'm not exactly sure if this donation link goes to them, but I mean, come on. School districts need so much help. And facing something like this after shelling out already so much money, please go in the description and donate to Mount Diablo Unified School District. But yeah, that's the end of the video. We're going to run your names that donated, and if you want to see your name there next week or your message there next week, then donate into the PayPal, put in the memo what you want to see, and we'll catch you later. Peace.
Peace.
Fortune cookie time. Fortune cookie time. What time is it? It's fortune cookie time. Let's go. Surprisingly, we run a sports podcast, and everyone's favorite segment is fortune cookie time. Really shows you something.
They're staying till the end of the episode. That's what it shows you.
That's what it shows you. Yeah, but I appreciate you guys. But dude, it's so funny how many people come up to me and they're like, "I love the fortune cookie segment," and I'm like, "Did you like the rest of it?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, that was cool too, I guess." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm glad that you liked something." But it makes sense. Not everybody who watches here is sports fans. You just guys like supporting us, and we appreciate that. So fortune cookie. This is the fortune cookie. This is for everyone's fortune. And remember, it's not just mine. It's not just Gabe's. It's not the podcast. It's everybody's fortune. Show your mom. It'll be her fortune too. Show your neighbor's cats. It's their fortune too.
Show your grandmother. Whatever you're into.
Oh, I don't even have to open it to get the fortune out. Oh, what an omen. Look it. I don't have to open it to get the fortune out. What do you think the fortune says? You don't know? Compromise is always wrong if it means sacrificing a principle. Boom. Never sacrifice your principles. Don't compromise if it sacrifices it. Thank you. Catch you later. Bye.
It is so stale. I knew that.